Okay, so I have a good friend. He is making some dresses for his wife. And instead of doing a Marco Polo for him on how to install an invisible zipper, I thought it would be fun to do a video so everybody can see how I install an invisible zipper. So here I have a jumpsuit that I've been working on, and I've gotten it to the place where it's time to install the zipper. Here's the back of the jumpsuit. And for starters, I leave the entire back seam open. Because this is a jumpsuit, you do have to sew the front part of the center seam. So I sew the front part, but I leave the entire back open. The other thing that I do to prepare my garment is I finish each seam. So for me, finishing means serging. Some people will do a zigzag if you don't have a serger, or some people will fold it over. But I do finish the seam before I install my zipper. Then I make sure to get like at least a 22-inch zipper. That's what I most commonly get, is a 22-inch zipper. An invisible zipper looks like this, and it has a zipper pull that is a little more sleek, doesn't have one of the holes in it. And it says on the package, invisible zipper. So I'll show you step one. Okay, I'm first gonna just hold the zipper right side, meaning the side with the zipper pull facing out. And I have it on the right side of my garment here. The next step is to just unzip the zipper all the way down and line it up, but I'm gonna actually roll it over now on this left side. The left side is what I'm going to be stitching first. And I will put the zipper stop like 1/8 of an inch from the top here. I will pin then, just a few pins. This side isn't as critical for pinning, but you also don't want the fabric to stretch as you sew, which can happen, especially with this slinky crepe that I'm working with. So I do like to put a few pins just to hold its spot, and I know where I'm at and that it's not stretching too much. So maybe 3 pins. And then I'm actually going to stitch this entire left side until I get to 2 inches above the bottom zipper stop here. So this is where I'm gonna stop. And then I'm gonna show you where I'm stitching. So a zipper, an invisible zipper has, if you roll it till it's flat, it has this little ditch. So I'm going to be stitching in the ditch of this invisible zipper. If you're going to err on the side of stitching on the tape side, because if you get too close to the teeth, it will not zip up and down, and it will cause major frustration for you. So you're going to be stitching in the ditch all the way down. Okay, I'm at my machine, and I think it's really important to point out that I don't actually use let me show you. This is my zipper foot, and it does help me to get close when I'm doing like a regular zipper, like a jean zipper. But for an invisible zipper, because I'm trying to keep it flat and get into that ditch, I really like using my regular presser foot. So it's nice and wide, it keeps it flat, and I just don't have to change it out. So that's another tip. Okay, so here I am at my machine, and again, I'm putting the top zipper stop about 1/8 of an inch from the top, and I'm gonna roll the teeth over so that it exposes again that ditch. And with the tape lined up with the raw edge of the right side of the left side of my jumper, I'm gonna go ahead and begin. And I will be stitching all the way down till I get 2 inches above the bottom zipper stop. And there's the bottom of my zipper. Okay, my next step is actually just to zip up the zipper. And this is going to serve 2 purposes. One, I just want to make sure that you can zip it up still. And then 2, I need to make 2 really important markings on the other side of the zipper tape now. So the center seam right here, or actually this is the waist seam, I want to line up on the other side when it's all zipped up and done. So I will actually make a marking as fine as I can, as fine of a line as I can, because I want it to be as accurate as possible. Really, you want it on the other side of the tape, so I will make sure that it's showing on the other side of the tape. The second marking that I want is at the bottom, not all the way at the bottom of the zipper, but where we stopped our stitching, which is about the 2 inches above the bottom zipper stop. I will make another marking down here. And those are going to help with where to place the right side of the zipper next. Okay, you can see where I'm going with this. I'm going to unzip my zipper now, and I'm going to grab that right side of my garment and find that waist seam now on the right side. I'm going to line it up and then make sure to roll it again so that the edge of the tape lines up with the raw edge of this right side now. And I'm going to line up this marking that lines up with the other side. This is where pins are critical, so I'm going to pin there. And then my second marking that I did toward the bottom of the zipper, unzip it a little bit more actually. This second marking is important because I'm actually going to begin stitching the right side of my zipper at this bottom mark. While we started at the top of our zipper on the left side, we are actually going to be starting the bottom of our zipper to do the right side. And with my teeth again rolled over, I'm going to begin stitching in the ditch, making sure that this marking is lined up with this waist seam still, and I'm going to stitch the entire right side now of my zipper. Okay. I will sometimes stop right after I cross over this waist seam just to zip up my zipper and make sure that it lines up there. I know that's a little bit picky, but sometimes it's a little bit off and I like to redo it. And if I haven't done the entire rest of it yet, it's just easier to kind of course correct. So I will zip it up, make sure that those line up and they look pretty good. I will unzip it again and continue sewing that right side from the point that I left off. Okay, now that both the left side and the right side are on there, I'm gonna zip up my zipper entirely just to make sure nothing is sticking, that the zipper can go all the way up to the top, that everything is lined up, this waist seam, the 2 bottom points that I stitched to, but then I still have the entire back seam to finish. And I like doing this because I like coming up from the bottom of the back seam and meeting both of these points here. So I'm actually going to keep the zipper zipped. I'm going to flip this now to the wrong side. And I've seen people do it both ways, where they either begin at this point and stitch up the back seam, but I actually prefer to come up from the bottom and just close up the entire seam until you stitch to that one point that is 2 inches above the bottom zipper stop. And here it is. I'm going to actually mark it. There's where they both stop, and that is where I'm stitching to, and I'm going to put a nice little back stitch there just to make it a little bit stronger. Okay, now I'm going to flip it back out to the right side. I'm going to make sure there aren't any bubbles going on. It looks really good, and of course pressing cures a whole host of evils. I will unzip it again just to test it all out. And then I will press my seam flat. That's the magic of having both sides finished before, so you don't have to worry about finishing the back seam. It's already done for you, and you can press it flat, and it has a really nice, crisp, clean look to it that makes it quite invisible, as an invisible zipper should be. And then actually the very last step of the zipper is to kind of tuck these ends in. I don't cut them off, but I will wrap them around and do just a little bit of hand stitching to tack that down nicely at the top, and again on the other side. And then on the inside, you can, if you want to, you do not have to, you can snip off the tail end of this, because the point at which all of the seams intersect is going to keep the zipper from going any further, so you no longer need this zipper stop. Good luck on your invisible zipper.